All right. So this is called a ruin. I hope I ruin orchids for you forever. I hope that 20 years from now, when you are still living well, when you've gotten back your harm reduction investment in spades, when you've finally dipped and headed off to other opportunities, I hope an orchid crops up and reminds you of me. I want you to remember what you did poignantly, painfully, and with perfect clarity. I want you to ache with that memory. A fly in the ointment of the pride you feel when you look back on the beautiful thing you've built. I want you to remember how it was built upon my back and upon the backs of everyone who had the guts to leave when I did not. And most definitely, it was built upon the backs of the one I watched you destroy first. I want you to remember because I will remember. I will remember the colleagues I never spoke up for because I was too terrified to lose my dream, because I was too afraid to enter the job market during a pandemic. I was too unwilling to give up on what I'd waited my entire life to do. Not realizing that what I was doing was just increasingly ridiculous things for an amount of money that continued to shrink in value, telling myself, this grind is fine. It's okay. It's all out of the love for people who use drugs, for people I knew, for the people I never got to know, who never deserved to be sacrificed on the altar of this fucking drug war. I stayed out of the pain of too much death, of the ever-present memory of everyone the overdose crisis had already taken, telling myself, it'll get better. It never got better. I just kept showing up day after day, dealing with the madness my work life had become. It was an ever-amassing collection of broken promises. No signed contract, not once, but twice. No solidity to anything. Just an ever-increasing workload. Ever-compiling nebulousness. And a stress-infused, rapidly dying dream that I lived in all the time. Shifting sands. The end was excruciatingly slow. 6 months of watching the work that I had absorbed get handed to contractors and partnerships and other forms of exploitation. 6 months of working through one of the only actual decision-making processes your enablers' failed alternative corporation experiment had ever managed to utilize. And you knew that at any moment, you, the person who seemed to get their whims answered the most, you knew he might snatch it all up and shut the door. And then it actually happened. Just not in a way that anyone expected, least of all you. You never wanted to stop exploiting my labor. You lost the ability to keep dragging out your petty games when your enabler flung me from the burning building of his poorly conceived redemption project, taking your toy away for good. And in that process, he did me a kindness I never would have done for myself. I would have continued to show up, despite how miserable everything continued to be. Oh, I hope being newly middle class leaves ashes in your mouth. I hope you never forget the $4,000 from the company account you spontaneously spent on skin cream in an airport because you didn't know how to use the correct bank card any more than you knew how to make sure that I got my paychecks on time. I hope your discomfort with being affluent eats you alive because we were never the same, no matter how much you tried to pretend we were. I would never make the mistake of spending thousands of dollars on skim cream in the first place. And I hope you keep finding files in Drive tagged deleted user, but know they're mine immediately because of my writing style. I hope you are never free of my words because I will never be free of the way it felt to be part of a space you so carelessly built. I will never quite forget how it irrevocably damaged me to be part of your team. If there is any quiet justice in this world, I hope you will never be able to think about this state without also thinking about me. I hope I ruin this state for you too. I hope the guilt of shattering my dreams haunts you for the rest of your days, because I know how I feel right now. I know how gutted I am, how low, how worthless. I know I'm made of sticky notes and scribbles in the margins and AIs to run my calendar. I know what it feels like to harbor a constant cadence of desperation. And I hate you for making me doubt myself, for making me feel like there was something wrong with me, when the real problem is you were too incredibly unprofessional and intoxicated by your own self-appointed harm reduction street cred to realize that you and your enabler were bad leaders and worse strategists. I hope that your parade of spaghetti-on-the-wall solutions becomes exhausting. And someday you yearn for the days of a tiny team that built a lifeboat for a fragile company, for a team that showed up, for a vibrant team made up of people, instead of being a revolving door of people who just want to build their resumes gobsmacked with the idea of a mission that you have sold them. There's always a price for how a company survives, for paths that are taken, for choices that are made. Is brain drain and the loss of talent a price worth paying? Is taking all of these small steps further away from the mission going to be worth it in the end? I hope I ruin orchids for you forever.